Okay, geometry 3.5, write and graph equations of lines. So here's example 6 in your book. Given a graph, and here are your points, negative 3, 3. And 2, negative 3. I want the equation of that line. So pretty much you did this in Algebra 1, you're going to do it here again. So given the line on a graph, come up with the equation. What equation are we talking about? Y equals mx plus b. So what do we need in an equation of a straight line?
You need the y-intercept.
Y-intercept and the slope. So we need to fill in these blanks. So it actually does not cross right at the origin the way this is. It's a sloppy graph. So on this graph, you can't tell me where it crosses the y-axis. If you drew an accurate graph, it would not look right. Okay? So you can't. Now, if you can see when you're looking at a graph, if it's obvious where it crosses the y-axis, then all you got to do is say that's what your y-intercept is. But let's start with finding the slope. How do I find the slope?
Y2.
Yeah, the slope is the subtraction of your y values over the subtraction of your x values. Or you can do rise over run, can't you? And I don't care if you do rise over run if you're given the graph. But we have the 2 points here, so let's actually do this. This is going to be 3 minus the negative 3, and the negative 3 minus 2. So we get slope to be negative 6/5. So y equals negative 6/5 x plus the intercept, b. Now I still have more than one variable. If you have more than one variable, you can't solve an equation. But do I know what x and y are?
Yeah.
What are they?
1 and 2 points of the line.
Yeah, any of the points that are on the line. We're given 2 of them. So let's just use this one for this example. We use x is 2 and y is negative 3. So make sure you plug your values into the correct position. X is 2. And now I only have one variable and I can solve it. You solve it. Tell me what you get for b. So what do we get?
Negative 3/5.
That's b. Then you have to rewrite it. So the slope again is negative 6/5, and my intercept is minus 3/5, plus negative 3/5 is fine. So that's your equation. What do you do? Step 1, find your slope. Step 2, substitute one of the coordinates in for your x and y. And then the last thing, rewrite the equation. Alright, so this is all reviewed from Algebra 1. If you need to write those steps down, write them down. Step 1, find slope. Step 2, substitute a coordinate for x and y. Alright, example 24. Point P is at negative 7, negative 4. I want the equation of a line that is parallel y equals 16. The point is -7, -4. I want a parallel line that goes through that point that's parallel to y equals 16. What is y equals 16?
The
What? It's not the y-intercept. It is y equals 16 is the equation of a line. Nate.
It's the horizontal line.
Horizontal line going through the y-axis is 16. So let's say this is 16 here. So this is y equals 16 right there. Point P is at -7, -4. So visually this is easy to do. -7, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. I guess it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, here's -7, -4. That's point P. So I want the equation of this line.
The other point would be 0, -4. Could be.
Okay, that's your intercept, 0, -4. If the equation of this line is y equals 16, y equals 4, -4, is the equation of the new line. So this is kind of a different way of doing it because we just have horizontal lines. Same thing with vertical lines, you're just going to have one variable. Alright, so really what we have here is this. This equation is really y equals 0x plus 16 because your slope is 0 on a horizontal line. And the slope of this one is y equals 0x plus, or minus 4. So the equation is really y equals -4. Alright? So be aware of the horizontal lines and the vertical lines with the way they look as an equation. They're very simple. This was a simple question, only if you understood that y equals 16 is a horizontal line. Alright? So wherever it crossed the y-axis, or wherever, whatever your y value was, that's your equation, y equals -4. And if it's a vertical line, it's the x value. Alright, enough of that. Let's actually do something a little more usual. Alright, so point P is at 4, 0. I want the line that goes through that point that's parallel to this equation, this line, -x plus 2y equals 12. I want the equation of the line that goes through that point that's parallel to this line. So what is the purpose of this line? What do we need it for?
Slope.
Slope. How do I find the slope in this line? Put it in slope-intercept form. Everybody put it in slope-intercept form quickly, please.
-1/2. Or +1/2.
Do I need the 6 for anything? Well, it's the intercept of that line. Do I really care? And the only reason I want this equation is to get the slope. So if the point, or the line going through that point is parallel to this line, then the slopes are the same, aren't they? Alright, so the slope of this line is going to be 1/2 x, I don't know, my y-intercept. So step 1 over there was find the slope. Same thing over here, step 1, find the slope from the other line. Step 2, find the intercept. I need x and y, right? Do I have x and y? The coordinate that they gave you. So x is 4. Don't put 4 in for y. Solve for b, and then rewrite the equation. Step 3 is always rewrite the equation. Alright, so the equation of the line going through point P is this, parallel to that equation. Okay, notice their intercepts are not the same. We good so far? Alright. Alright, let's see if we can change this up. See if you've learned your lesson. I I want the equation of a line, this is example 32. Equation of a line going through point P, which is 4, negative 6, perpendicular to the equation y equals negative 3. Perpendicular to the line y equals negative 3. So again, I'm going to help you out by doing the visual part of it. Visually, y equals negative 3 is right here. So here's y equals negative 3. I want a perpendicular line. So first of all, what's the line going to look like?
It's gonna be vertical.
It's going to be vertical. Now where's point P? Here's point P. So Nate, what is the equation of that line?
4. X equals 4.
X.
Negative 6. It's a negative 6.
Oh, sorry. There's point P. Does it change?
No.
Okay. So X equals
4.
thank you, is the equation of that line. So visually it helps to look at it. But you should be able to tell me what it is just by looking at that up there. Alright? Perpendicular, there you go. Why is it undefined? What's the slope of this line? 0 over any number is 0. What's the opposite reciprocal of that? Well, you can't have 0 in your denominator, it's undefined, we can't do that. So that's why we call this undefined, a vertical line being undefined, slope is undefined, yes?
Well, like, after this one, do you have to, like, plug it into an equation?
No,
That is the equation.
that is the equation.
Uh,
Well, vertical lines and horizontal lines only have one variable, if that helps.
so like this y equals 4, just,
X equals 4 is the equation of that line.
okay.
Okay. Let's do midpoint here. Let's do a midpoint problem. So this is number 48. I want you to find a midpoint. So let's make sure we can do this. Point P is at 0, 2, and point Q is at 6, negative 2. Everybody find the midpoint of that before I ask you to do something. I want the equation of the line that goes through these 2 points through the midpoint. Perpendicular equation. Perpendicular slope going through the midpoint of the line that contains those 2 points. Okay? So here's visually what you're doing. 0, 2 is point P. 6, negative 2. Where's the midpoint? Liza, what'd you get?
3, 0.
Add the x's, divide by 2. Add the y's, divide by 2. 6 over 2 is 3. 0 over 2 is 0. So 3, 0 is my midpoint. I want the equation of the line that's perpendicular to this line going through the midpoint. So here's our point that is on the new line, right? How do I find the perpendicular part of it, the slope? Find the slope of this line, right? And then find the perpendicular part of it. All right, so everybody find the slope of PQ. minus a negative 2, so the slope of PQ. 0 minus 6. Correct? Everybody check my math. I'm not doing great math. Alright, so what's the perpendicular part? Like,
Do you have to flip it?
and,
Change the sign?
yeah, so the slope of the new line, the perpendicular, is going to be positive 3/2. So we have y equals 3/2. So step 1, find the slope. Step 2, substitute x and y. Well, what point is on my new line? The midpoint, 3, 0. So everybody plug 3, 0 in and rewrite the equation. Goes to the y-axis, negative 4 1/2. It's okay if you leave it as negative 9/2. Easier to understand if it's negative 4. Got it? What did you need? You had to find the midpoint, so you had a coordinate to plug in for x and y. But you also had to find the slope before you did it, right? Okay, good. Page 184, 351, 61, 63. Begin.